Well, hello, friends. This is Wendy with Love and Stampin'. I'm excited you're here today. I got some stamps from Your Next Stamp. This stamp company is based out of Canada, and I was looking for horse and dog stamps. So I came across these stamps and I thought they were absolutely adorable. Some of them are farm, some of them are doggies, some of them are these cute little animals here, which I think are so cute. And then, of course, we have this horse one here. So this is the one we're going to use today. And I just loved all of these. And so I thought I would make you a card with one of them. So we're going to make a card using the horse one. And it's for my daughter because, we're all things horses right now. So, and I don't see that going anywhere. I don't see that changing. So we're going to get this out of the package eventually and make a card with this stamp set. What we are going to focus on today, though, we are going to talk about some coloring. We're also going to talk about using dies in your card making and like non-negotiables. So we're going to get into all of that here in a little bit. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Wendy, as I said earlier, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I do sell Stampin' Up! Product, but I also use other products. So there is no rule against that from Stampin' Up!, just to make that clear right up front. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to say that in most every video that I create with a non-Stampin' Up! Product, because I tend to get a lot of comments or questions about that. So if you are a demonstrator and you look at the manual, you will find that it is perfectly within the rules for me to use any stamp products I want to use. I just can't take compensation from other companies, which I do not do. So that being said, let's move on to the fun stuff. So here I am creating a mask for this little horse, and I've stamped first on my my cardstock, basic white cardstock, and now I'm stamping my horse onto a mask, and it's very light. That's okay. I just needed it to be dark enough for me to be able to fussy cut it out. So I'm not worried about it like having a perfect stamp. I'm just worried about being able to see the lines enough to fussy cut out the image because I want to mask the horse. So we are eventually going to do a video on masking and talk a lot about masking because Miss Deborah, my helper, has requested that we do that. So we will do that eventually. So on this card in particular, I wanted to be able to do ink blending behind this horse. So in order to do that, I needed to cut a mask to go over the top, and then I could ink blend and color. I want to mention a couple of things before we get too far into this video. Number one is Stampin' Up! Has released their last chance retiring list. So if there are products that you want to get your hands on, I highly recommend grabbing them. There is stuff up to 60% off. We are going to use a little bit of designer series paper in this video that is no longer going to be in the catalog. It's super cute, and it will be linked in my supply list over on my website. So there's always a link below my videos that have cards in them that links over to my blog or my website, and it links you to a supply list and a printable sheet for like the measurements for the card and stuff like that. So if you're ever watching one of my videos, I should say more recent videos, you can always click the link below the video to go over to my blog. Also, the Creative Vault is awesome and doing great, and I've had a few questions about what it is. So the Creative Vault is just a membership program that I started that is amazing. It has incredible contributors, and you get free card classes. Well, they're not free. You're paying a membership. You get card classes in there every month, and you get a live event with me and my sister every month where I'm making cards and we're chatting and talking about something fun and funny. My sister is hysterical, so if you like hanging out with people and hanging out with funny people, then that's the place for you. So, all right. as I continue to work through this here, I just want to make a note on the fussy cutting. When you are fussy cutting, you want to try to hold your scissors as still as possible and move the paper around your scissors. This is going to give you a really nice smooth cut line versus jagged edges, and it makes for better masking and it makes for better fussy cutting. So here you can see I have the outline of this horse all cut out, and I'm just going to mask right over the top of it. Now I am using a new to me glass mat. I've actually had this glass mat that's under this cardstock here in my craft room for probably 2 or 3 years, and I was struggling figuring out how to keep reflections out of it, but I finally got that worked out, and now I'm using it and I love it because I can just wipe up like the ink here where I'm going off the edge. Instead of having to have a scrap piece of paper under there, I can very easily wipe stuff off of the glass mat. Adhesive comes off of it better than my other mat. I will link to this below the video, and I'll link to it on my blog. It is made by Tim Holtz or Tonic Studios. I don't know. I've never understood. I don't know which is what. But so I'll link to it, and you can get yourself one if you need one. So here I realize, ooh, I better wipe up that blue before I move on to the green, because I don't want to pick up the balmy blue in my granny apple green as I'm ink blending. So here I'm using balmy blue ink and I'm using granny apple green ink just to create some sort of an easy background for this horse. And then I'm going to add a few other elements to it, and it will be ready for more stamping. Now more being put together, I should say. Now I want to say this video was filmed in with it a week apart. So I filmed the first part of it with the coloring and stamping, and then I did the second part of it today as I finished out the voiceover and all of that for this weekend. So here I am going to, I don't know what I'm going to do because I filmed this like over a week ago. And if I've slept on anything, then I've lost what I've done. Oh, I'm coloring. Okay. You all know, if you're a mom, a grandma, an aunt, a sister, a friend, a woman, and you have a life that consists of anybody else in it, you know what I'm talking about. It's very tiresome at times, and it's good, but it's tiresome at times. And so, it's very easy for me to forget what I've done. Anyway, so here I am going to pop the numbers of these Copic markers on the screen for you. So, it's unnecessary to use 4 of these. So that's what I've learned from this coloring session. I probably could have just used 3 colors. But you do get more depth of color, more interest when you use 4. It's just not necessary. So the people I've learned to color from mainly are Kelly Taylor, who is also part of our Creative Vault. She does a coloring class in our Creative Vault every month. And it's either watercolors, Copic colors, stuff like that. So fantastic resource. And by the way, in the Creative Vault, you get every single past class. So when you join, you're not like getting just this month's classes. No, you're getting everything from the past too. So it's going to have an amazing amount of stuff in it when it, as the longer it goes on, the more stuff there is. So there is a link below my video, by the way, to sign up for it if you want to. So anyway, I've learned from them, and I think I'm going to change how I do some things. So this is what the creative process is all about, okay? It's about learning what works best for you. Now, Kelly always starts with her lightest color, works out to her darkest, then goes back to her lightest. And that's what I'm doing here. I started with my lightest and working out to my darkest, going back the other way. However, that's a very time consuming process, and actually for me, I think unnecessary. One of the reasons Kelly does that is because she has said herself in her videos she's heavy handed when it comes to her darker colors. So, what happens if you are heavy handed with your darker colors is that you end up coloring your whole image in a dark color and it doesn't leave room for your highlights. What I find is I'm having the opposite problem. I'm having a problem where I'm not using enough dark color, and then when I go back in, I have to basically readjust all of my colors. So I hope this makes some kind of sense to you, but it's kind of one of those things that you don't know until you know. So if you've never colored with Copic markers, it's kind of like you have to form your own way of doing things, if that makes sense. By the way, here I'm adding some shadow under the saddle because I realized like wherever his saddle was sitting on top of him, there would have been darker color. And then I'm trying to leave some lighter color in some of the areas for highlights. This probably is not correct in the world of lighting, but I don't care. It still looks good, and my card came together great, and my little horsey looks good, and I'm happy with it. So it's a card. It's not, I'm not Picasso by any means. So just doing my best, living my life over here, people. Coloring the best I know how. But I think it turns out really, really cute. I really like it. So anyway, it's a trial and error thing. It's kind of like driving. This is what I was thinking of the other day. When you first start driving a car, you don't really know how to drive a car because you've never done it before. So you're not sure how much pressure to put on the pedal for the gas. You're not sure, you get that like jerking motion. You're not sure how much pressure to put on the brakes. You're not sure how hard it's going to be to turn a steering wheel. All of those things are learned. And then once you get it down, you can drive multiple different vehicles. There's going to be small adjustments in each of those vehicles, but you basically have the concept down of how to drive the vehicle. That is how I feel about coloring. Like, once you get down the basics of it, you can then start changing and modifying to suit you and make it work for you. So for the saddle and the hooves, I just used the 100 black marker, and then I'm using the warm grays for his mane and forelock and his tail. Now, when we're doing this, I want to leave highlights in the areas where there are bends in his hair, which, by the way, is part of the reason I bought this stamp set. Every one of the horses in this stamp set has hair that's like flowing and big. I love coloring hair. I think it's so fun. And I don't really have any stamp sets that allowed me to be able to do that. So that was one of the reasons I got this set. I really wanted to be able to practice my abilities with coloring hair. So here you can see I'm leaving a highlight, or I'm leaving it lighter in the areas where the hair kind of curls. And here, like on the bump of his tail, I'm leaving a highlight in the middle of there because that's where it will give it some sort of motion in a way. And then I'm just going in with my colors and continuing to add color and make it darker and darker. So it'll almost look black when I'm all the way finished. Even though it's technically just warm grays, it will have the look of a black mane and tail with this flaxen color, beautiful in the middle. Also, you could use purple or blues to color black hair. We'll get into that someday. It's very interesting. So, anyways, I hope that makes sense with the coloring and helps also enlighten you as to one of the reasons I chose this stamp set is because I really wanted to color his hair. I literally was like, I really want to color that hair. It's so beautiful. So, yeah, so those are my tips for coloring on this particular card and just sharing with you some of my journey with that. Now let's talk about dyes a little bit, and we're going to have story time today. It is Saturday when I release these videos that usually are longer videos, and we like to have story time. So, the other thing I want to talk about today is dies. So Stampin' Up! Has released their retiring list, right? And what happens is, for demonstrators, is you get to this place where you're like, okay, well, I'm going to get rid of all my retiring products that I have on the list that are retiring because I can't sell those products, okay? So imagine if you came to my videos every week and you watched my videos and you saw something I use that you really love and you couldn't buy it. And it was just like that all of the time. You would get super irritated. I know I would, because I obviously get influenced by other people. I see stuff where I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have that stamp set. Or the most common thing for me is I'll say, I don't really like that stamp set. And then I see somebody use it in a way that's incredible, and then I have to have it. So that's why Stampin' Up! Demonstrators on a whole get rid of their retired product if they're running a Stampin' Up! Business, is because if you can't sell it, it's almost like it's mean to continue showing it. So here I'm just doing a little technique where I'm adding grasses in and I'm just flicking upwards in different areas. And this just gives my horse a little place to stand. And I just really like how this part came together. And I'm using Stampin' Blends Granny Apple Green because I knew it would match perfectly to my ink. So I just went over it with dark and then a light, and that takes care of that. So back to the dies. Here is where I'm going to show you. So these are the scallop contour dies, and I'm going to use that scallop. And then we've got the tailored tag dies. Now, there are dies for me that are non-negotiable. Now, both of these sets of dies are staying in the current catalog. Thank you, Jesus. I am so happy about that. And I like literally both of these die sets are two of my very favorites. So I would have probably revolted if I had to give up either one of them. So here I'm making a scalloped edge, and then on my other one, we're going to do a little tag. And we're going to talk about these dies here for just a second. All dies. So one of the things that retired from the Stampin' Up! Catalog is our layering circle dies. So there's scallop circles and regular circles. I was not pleased with this. So I'm keeping mine. I'm not getting rid of them. So it's totally going to be possible that at some point you'll see me using those and they're going to be retired. And there's lots and lots of companies that sell circle dies. One of the comments I've received is, Stampin' Up! Needs to carry more stuff. Well, at the end of the day, no one company can carry all the things. So my understanding from Stampin' Up! As to why they retire certain products is there's a few reasons. One is trends, and two is sales. So for example, if nobody's purchasing the layering circle dies and they have just a bunch of it sitting in their warehouse, at some point you go, okay, well, this is just taking up space in a place where another item would sell. Because I think there's this very interesting caveat with card making where people forget that it is a business. And so I don't know, I've never really noticed this in other businesses, but the companies that make all this product for us, we grow to love them. And we kind of forget sometimes that they are, at the end of the day, running a business. And the same goes for demonstrators. Now, that being said, I've shared with you guys already, I've caught some flack over using non-Stampin' Up! Product here since the beginning of 2023 because I have always run a Stampin' Up! Business. And if you are running a Stampin' Up! Business, it may not be good for you to be using other products. However, my love for creating, crafting, card making has now outweighed my desires to try to sell the products. Does that make sense? Like, I'm still selling them. I still like them. I love them. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still your demonstrator. But at the end of the day, I needed to find joy in this again, and doing and using lots of different products and things that would make me happy. So that's what I'm doing. So anyway, I feel like I'm going to use the worst metaphor ever here, or not metaphor, saying, beating a dead horse. Did your families use that? Oh gosh. Anyways, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse with the whole discussion about me using other product. I really don't want to talk about it anymore, but every time I do a video where I do this, I get some sort of comments, questions, inquiries. So I'm trying to head those off. I don't know. You're probably sick of hearing about it. Okay, so here I make a mistake, and I don't realize I make the mistake till after I make the mistake. And I thought about cutting this whole part out of the video, but I really wanted to share it with you and teach you or let you see the example of what I did differently. So I die cut this and realized that there's a little piece that needs to go on the end of this tag. Okay. Unfortunately, the sentiment, which is adorable, by the way, may the horse be with you, is going to get covered up by this piece. So that's not going to work, right? Not going to work. So I'm thinking, what should I do? What should I do? So I end up deciding to restamp this and die cut it the opposite way. So you'll see that here in just a second. And we sort it out, friends. We get it all sorted out. So back to the dies. There are dies that are just non-negotiable for me. So like my layering circle dies, I have circle, heart. I have dies from a bazillion years ago from Stampin' Up! That are regular shape dies. Now, I put them in my little retired product category in my craft room, and I haven't used them in years because why? Ultimately, I want to be using products that I know you guys can use and purchase. Not just because I want you to order with me, but because it's just annoying to not be able to get your hands on products that you see somebody else using. So anyway, all of that being said, these tag dies are one of my non-negotiables. I will never get rid of them. If Stampin' Up! Someday decides no longer to carry them, I will keep them because I love them. They're so cute. They layer up in different sizes, and they've got this little bitty piece that goes on the end. Yay me. Did you see my thumbs up there? And so all in all, there are dies that are just not negotiable and that I will always keep once they've been released. Same with the Stylish Shapes dies, which thank goodness those are also staying in the catalog. The new catalog is beautiful. There are some really fantastic stamp sets, dies. I'm very pleased with it, and I can't wait for you guys to get yours. If you purchase with me and you've requested a catalog from me, I have ordered them from Stampin' Up! And they should be coming your way. Here's what we're going for. So this little tag was supposed to like kind of hang down straight, but I really didn't like it. So I decided to go ahead and put it kind of kitty corner like this, and it still turns out super cute. Very, very happy with the end result of this card. So anyway, that's all the things I had to tell you. Story time. There's really not much of a story. We were sick. I actually don't know for sure if I ever had the cold or if I had allergies. Either way, I didn't feel great for a few days. I feel better now. My husband and daughter are on the mend. I'm going to pop a video here at the end of Artie, my daughter with Artie. I've shared with you guys. I think I've shared with you. I know I have. My daughter is working with a Mustang, and she got to work with him this week, and it's going very well. So I'm going to pop a video so that you can see kind of how those things are going. And this card is for her just as an encouragement card, because I don't know, because every once in a while I like to make her a card and surprise her with it. So I will be giving her this one. So that's it, friends. And I lied. It's not it. We're going to add these little guys. These are the classic matte dots. These are staying in the catalog, which I'm also thrilled about. These are not retiring. Phew. Super cute. So I add those and then the card is finished. So thanks for hanging out with me today. If you need any of the products that I used, there are links below the video and over on my blog. And I'm going to share that video of Artie with you right now.
Head is back. There, good. Good boy. Head is back. Good. Put your other hand on him. Pet the other hand. Good boy. Get your body on him. Kind of lean